shirt on today?
No. No, I've been doing it. I try to do it every time now, so at least I don't have to.
YouTube. I thought you meant the smart shirt thing.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you were in a hoodie last time.
Hi, Duncan.
Hi. Do you want to make me host, Luca, when you've done that, and then I can keep my eye on the waiting room for you?
Yeah. Okay. We're live on YouTube now as well. So it should
I'm
be
just
live
gonna,
now on the.
I'm just going to close
live
these.
on the page too.
Great, that's wonderful. I'm just going to close these curtains so that I don't have quite so much of a beatific aura about me.
Okay,
So
let me make you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you host now. So just admitted, I should have admitted somebody into the room just before. Okay.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Jay and Tim and Pia, we may be a little bit depleted as we're starting half an hour early, but we might have a boost in half an hour.
Yeah, exactly, as it normally does, and people still be coming into the room after 9 o'clock, as it normally happens.
And asking questions when there's 3 minutes left.
Exactly. So that's the way it goes, doesn't it?
Oh.
Okay. So shall we get started straight away?
Absolutely, yeah.
And first of all, I will start to frame the discussion a little bit, especially after what we were talking about last week. Last week we were talking about, are we still in a bear market? Are we in a bull market now? And what I wanted to say to you before we start going into anything in particular is, I don't know why Tim and Eileen, I don't know why you are the wrong way around on the screen. It's as if you are on the space station.
Well, it's because they're in Australia,
hanging
isn't it,
upside
Luca?
down.
Yeah, that's
Probably.
it.
That's interesting. I've never seen that before. So,
I'm trying to work it out myself.
are you sitting on the ceiling?
I think they're secret billionaires and they're just on their trip to the moon.
Potentially, yeah. They got a ticket with Jeff Bezos, eh?
Now we're stuffed it up and put it the right way up.
No, you're not.
Fantastic. Okay, so let me then frame this a little bit, because last week we finished pretty much the room talking about being in a bear market or not, and that's what I wanted to talk to you, because obviously as soon as we talked about that, then the market ended up going on a rampage, let's say, and so we've moved from about 33,000 to 40,000. Now, that doesn't mean that we are in a bull market or that we're not, that we're not in a bear market and so on. But what I wanted to say to you is that you need to start to look at this market and look at the data and the facts rather than the commentary and opinion pieces from journalists, from YouTubers, and so on, or advice. So what I tend to do, and my approach to this thing, and how I look at the whole market, is that I tend to look at projects the same way that you would look at a company on the stock market. So the price is one thing, and the price will be led by the results of the company, by what the analyst expects or don't expect. But the work goes on regardless, and this is what I concentrate on. Okay, I concentrate on the facts, I concentrate on the number, I concentrate on the statistics. The price will do what the price will do, because that, it's what we got to understand is that the price is mainly led by, apart from big investors, is led by new entrants into the market. And new entrants behave very differently from people that have been around for a few years. Okay, so we can see this is a kind of like a young new market that will go violently up and down. But where it is going in the long term will be determined by the work that is being done. Okay, and this is what I would like you to concentrate on. For me, if I can give you a little bit of advice, it's this. Okay, stop listening to opinions and start looking at facts. And the more you look at it, the more you look at news, the more you look at facts, the more you are able to kind of like sift and look at all the bits of news and knowing what is speculation, what is misinformation, what is actually something that's worth looking at. And this is what I do every day. This is what I do every week. So look at the little bits within all the deluge of information that is important to concentrate on. And it's important from the point of view of, if you then decide to become an investor, or if you're already investing, it's important to understand this. Okay, and it is important to understand, to be part of a community that tells you things for how they are, and they don't like paint things in rosy colors. Okay, because and I have to say every time, I keep repeating it. This is not for the faint-hearted. Okay, it's not a market to invest, to invest your living money, or it's not a market to invest your savings if it's something that you need to rely on. So you got to have a strong stomach, and also listening to the reality that might not be what you want to hear. Okay. So having said that, let me share my screen and let's look at some things that are interesting. So this just to start, this is where we were. Where are we? Today is the 30th. The 23rd, we were here in the morning when we were talking about how we're in the bear market. So we were at 32,000. And where are we now? What's happened to the market? 9. This is what's happened to the market. Okay, so as you can see, a nice line, a nice angle of growth in this past week. So in this market, you have to expect the unexpected, and this is the way that normally the market goes. So the market starts growing when it becomes boring, when people are stopped paying interest too much, because they say, oh, nothing is happening. And this is, let's have a look at a longer time frame. Okay, maybe a look at the daily. Okay, this is where we were from the mid-May. We've been into this range. It's become very, very boring, especially here from the last week of June until last week. We had moved in a quite narrow range between 36 and 30,000, and it had become very boring. What happens when the market becomes boring? Then it starts moving. Okay. What happens when the market gets overexcited? As it did here, and then it starts going down. And so it's always like, following the mass. It's always a bad tactic for investing. Understanding mass psychology is generally the way to go. So it's, I always say, and this applies to any market, you buy fear and you sell greed. Okay, so when the market is fearful, as it was here around the 30,000, and what I said to you last week is that don't just look at the prices, don't just look at the tops and the bottoms. Look at where the market is comfortable. The market has been comfortable in this range for about 3 months. Okay, and he had rejected on several occasions. He had rejected the 30,000, $29,000, $30,000 level. So what happens there? There's some basically he had run out of people that would support the idea of price going down, and then the people that were supporting the idea of price going up had gain prevalence. And what happens, as I say, because the market has stayed in this range for a while, this is where the stops were being placed, just above this 30 here, between 35 and 36,000. And when the price started moving up, then it accelerated, because it then triggered stop loss orders around this level. And when a stop loss order is triggered, it become, in this case, because the stop was against the price going up, it becomes a buy order, and so that increments the speed of the direction of the movement. Okay, and the same thing happens if you look back, happens on the way down. You see, when we trigger some stop loss order, then boom, go all the way down. It accelerates the speed, and the movement is more pronounced depending on how many people were betting on, and they are being proven wrong. Okay, so in this case, there were still a lot of people that were buying into the idea of Bitcoin going up to 100, 200, 300,000, and so the price went down very sharply. Here, it was a lower community of people that were betting on price going down, and so the price is going up, but not as sharply as when it came down. Now we are all waiting around this. This is the next battleground, which is, as you can see, need to make it a little bit bigger. This is the top of this recent range. It goes from end of May to where we are now, and the top was 41,300. Where has the price topped so far? 40,900, 40,840, 40,550. So we are in this range now. We are fighting against the recent top. What we're going to see, if the market moves into the 40,000, 42,000 level, probably going to see another number of tops being triggered, and then this is the next level that we're going to fight, which is the one just before 50,000. So this is just like short-term price movement, and it just facts. I'm not, the price could as well go down towards 10,000 as it could go up towards 60, and then reaching new highs. Okay, but I'm just telling you things as they are, and these are, in trading, this is just a representation of mass psychology. Okay, so it represents where the pleasure points and pain points are. At the moment, as we're going back, we're fighting against fear. We're fighting against pain, because this is where people have experienced pain in the past. If you were holding Bitcoin and you found that the price has gone down by $10,000, then you have pain. And as price approaches that pain point, you remember and think, gosh, I lost a lot of money at that point. Will I lose it again? So there is going to be, it's not going to be plain sailing, because there is that resistance that can be psychological, or it can be actually be physical, in the sense that people betting the price will turn at that point. Okay, so if you look at it coldly and start, stop thinking, the price will do this, or the price will do that because I believe it. But you just look at facts, then you can look, okay, this is a resistance point. Will we go beyond it or not? And you can just watch the market and see what happens. You can't say beforehand. You can only say that there's going to be some sideways movements while the market is making up its mind. And as you can see, we have 2 days of not much happening. If I look at a smaller time frame again, you can see here, as we reach these levels, then we start going sideways, because the market is not sure what is going to happen. Are we going to up and going beyond this level, or are we going to come back down? Okay, so we can only just watch and see, and then once the market starts moving, then we can understand what direction it has chosen. But I personally don't look at it too much in the short term. I'm just looking at it for interest, obviously, because I am looking at this market, and Bitcoin represents the biggest player in the market. So wherever Bitcoin goes, pretty much indicates the direction that the whole market is going to. Okay, so having seen that, let's have a look at some bits of news that it is important to look at. This is the main thing that I wanted to look at. So this is a new report compiled by Crypto.com, saying basically that the global crypto population, so the number of accounts and everything, has doubled in 4 months. So it is estimated now that the number is more than 200 million users. And this is just to understand, so that you understand the speed of adoption and change here. It's taken 12 years to go from 0 to 100 million. It's taken 4 months to go from 100 million to 200 million. Now, before this, estimates whether we will reach about 1 billion user in around 2025. Now, looking at the increase in the speed of adoption, it is more likely that we will reach this level in maybe 2023 or even earlier, even towards the end of next year. So things are changing very, very quickly. And you know, this is not investment advice, but I'm just warning you. This bounty is not going to last forever. Okay, so if you are thinking about it, you know, don't sit on the sidelines for too long, because you know we are at a very incredible situation right now that we can take advantage of. You let it pass, it might not come around again in our lifetime. So this is what I wanted to just make you aware of. Now, having said that, we were talking, by the way, we were talking before this, we're talking about an increased rate in the number of accounts of about 130% a year. So basically 2.5 times the number of accounts every year. This is probably going to be a lot more, and this year we might see the number of users growing by at least 3 times rather than just 2 and a bit. So it is a big change in the rate of adoption. Okay, so remember what we discussed before, that we are at the kind of early adopter stage now in cryptocurrencies and blockchain, and I think we're very, very quickly moving from through the adoption rate, and we will soon move towards where a majority of the population has heard about it, and a significant percentage of the population now is dabbling in it. Okay, so we move from the 2.5% to 5-10% quite rapidly. Now, I've had many people that have asked me, why has the price done this now? All of a sudden, after 3 months of not doing much, why has it gone from 30 to 40,000 so quickly? And this is the kind of thing that I wanted you to pay attention to, because now we're talking, it's easy to say after something happened, this is the reason why, or that is the reason why. You might hear a lot of people that talk about, Amazon now accepting, talking about accepting cryptocurrency payments, or Elon Musk now they're saying that, Tesla is accepting Bitcoin payments again, and Tesla still has Bitcoin in its balance sheet, and they haven't sold any. So that might be some reason, but I look more at facts, and I've looked at this. For example, Bitcoin hash rate recovers to 2020 levels. Now, what does that mean? It means that the backlash that there was in China against Bitcoin miners has brought a lot of mining operation in China to stop their operations there. And obviously, we're talking about a huge amount of assets in terms of computer and infrastructure that needed to be moved out of China into other countries. Okay, so it looks like this now has been achieved. So the capacity has moved from China to elsewhere in the world. We are moving to levels of security in the system. They are where we were a few months ago. So we basically, what we said before, they said this backlash against the China miners has actually worked in favor of Bitcoin, not against it, because it means that now China doesn't control the mining of Bitcoin as was probably the biggest criticism before, but it's now more spread out throughout the world. And as this, obviously, when you got to think about is that a lot of the miners were accumulating Bitcoin and had to use their funds because they were forced to dispose of it, during this backlash. And so they dumped a lot of Bitcoins on the market, and that were a big part of what happened to Bitcoin prices. As now that has been absorbed, and then the movement can then start normally, and this will not affect the pricing. In the same articles, we can also read about, Kazakhstan goes through crypto. That means that they are now allowing their banks to open crypto bank accounts. So the banks now can be the in between the people's money and then their investment in cryptos. Okay, and just why did I want to for you to see this? Not because Kazakhstan is of any importance on the world stage, but simply because of the kind of like the attitude that we see in different countries towards cryptocurrency. Now we see in the UK, for example, the banks have come out in pretty much in a full war against cryptocurrency. As I talked about before, the US instead is moving towards helping people, offering services, helping this onboarding of people into the cryptocurrency world through the banking system. And this is kind of like one step forward. Kazakhstan is hoping to capture some of this traffic to make it easier for people to get into cryptos, and so they are trying to position themselves as an easy way of getting into this market. Now, what is a problem for some is an opportunity for others, and this is what I wanted you to actually to see and understand. This is a wave that is very, very difficult to stop, because it's not. You can't stop these organizations. These blockchains are not positioned in any particular country. You can stop people from interacting with them as much as you can in one country, but you can't stop the movement going on elsewhere. And there are countries like El Salvador, like Kazakhstan, other countries that are trying to make it easier for their citizens to interact with crypto, and those are the ones they are pushing forward. Now, the other thing I wanted you to consider as well is the role of banks in the crypto growth as well. Because for a lot of people, crypto is still a very technical investment, and sometimes it is difficult for them to understand all the technicalities that they need to do when interacting with crypto. Having a bank that has already their trust, because they deposit money with them and they have their account that they used to live on, that takes away all the technical aspects. So they custody the coins, they make it easy for them, and then make it easy for them to buy cryptocurrency as they would buy any other investment, like they would buy a bond, or they would buy shares in the stock market, and so on, or a term savings account. Then it kind of like removes one of the barriers to entry to this market. Okay, so having covered that as well, let's have a look at some other facts. Another big one. 42 trillion custodian State Street became the latest to offer crypto services to private clients. Again, we're talking about United States here. The State Street Corporation is one of the largest banks and is the second oldest continuously operating US bank. Okay, so has teamed up with Luca, kind of similar to my name, a leading enterprise crypto asset data and software enterprise. So what they will do will support its private fund clients with ranging in functions, so collection, reconciliation, processing, reporting related to crypto and other digital assets. Again, why is this important? Look at this: 42 trillion assets in the under their custody. So they are offering people holding these assets the possibility of interacting with crypto. So again, it's kind of like, don't look at it as like one thing, but look at it as Lego blocks they're being put into place. This is one of those Lego blocks, is a big one. So they're enabling 42 trillion to interact with this market. Obviously, not all of that will end up in crypto, but if you think about it, what's 1% of 42 trillion? Okay, it's 400 billion. The whole of the market is worth at the moment about 1.6 trillion. So just trying to make sense of these numbers. If only 1% of these assets make their way into crypto, is going to have a huge effect on the crypto market as a whole. Okay, let's move on to, I just wanted to quickly go through the next 2 or 3 items and then open to questions. Okay, another big one, PayPal set to launch crypto trading in the UK and may embrace decentralized finance. Again, as we're saying, the UK banks are going all out against crypto, and that opens opportunity to somebody else like PayPal. Obviously, PayPal is a new player in the financial system. They don't have all the infrastructures that the banks have, but they operate digitally. And the same way as the cryptocurrency exchanges are entering the same market. So now it will be a lot more difficult for the banks to fight PayPal on this, as it is for them to try to convince their users that cryptocurrency exchanges are not trustworthy. So, where will we end up for this? I don't know. We will see. Obviously, a big player like PayPal entering the UK market, obviously it means that they don't see, long-term problems dealing with the UK as, the banks are trying to convince us that they will be. So another block of Lego put into place, and this is another important block, one of the most important that I have heard so far, although you might not recognize it as such, as Litecoin is now teamed up with the BitPay to launch direct payments for the users of the online tech retailer Newegg, which is a Californian-based retailer. Now, again, this is huge because it's one of the first examples where you can use cryptocurrencies directly to buy things online. So we're not talking about using a card that converts your crypto into cash and then you use the cash. This is using Litecoin directly. So you will be able to buy, I don't know, a computer and pay directly in the Litecoin. The retailer will receive Litecoin, will not receive US dollars. So again, why is this important? Because of what we were talking about. Are cryptocurrencies assets or are they currencies? Now, and everything that's happened in the crypto world is being from the bottom up. Okay, so if we see more and more users asking retailers to use cryptocurrencies, then retailers are following, saying, yes, fine, we'll deal with the technical details, we'll accept your cryptocurrencies. It is kind of like making the case to the authorities of, look, these are currencies, they are not assets, because you don't use assets to buy and sell your grocery. So this is one of the first cases that we see. As I said before, I started saying this from the beginning of the year. As more retailers are coming on board, as this onboarding of crypto is becoming easier, then we might see a complete difference in the way that the whole crypto market is considered. And this is not to be obviously not to ignore what El Salvador has done and maybe made Bitcoin into legal tender for their country. Okay, last bit of information, and then we open up to questions. So prepare your questions, please. Tron is a layer 1 blockchain. So again, is one of the infrastructure projects that then people build apps on top, decentralized apps on top of. And now Tron has reported the highest number of transactions ever in one day. Again, why is that important? We're not looking at the price. I've not even looked at a Tron price here, and I don't really want to go into that because it's not really relevant. What I'm trying to tell you is that for the users to go from 100 to 100 million to 1 billion and more, we need the infrastructure to be in place. So we need these projects like Tron, like Cardano, like Ethereum, like Polkadot, like Solana, to be able to process this higher number of transactions. Okay, and so going from the 10, 20 transactions per second that Bitcoin and Ethereum are processing to the tens of thousands that we need to offer an alternative to Visa and MasterCard, we need infrastructure to be in place. And these are the news that I look at. These are the data. These are the things that are important to see. Like Workday is going on in the background. Blockchains are saying, look, we are processing a higher and higher number of transactions. Ethereum is processing more money per day than PayPal, but we are more impressed by the things that are going on in PayPal than what's going on in Ethereum or Cardano or Tron. Okay, so it doesn't stop the work that's going on in the background. The only thing that is changing is the perception of the usefulness of this work. And this is what we look at the facts, don't look at the prices. Okay, the prices will eventually follow the innovation that's being delivered. Okay, so there's quite a few things that I've shown you this week, but this is kind of like all these items are coming thick and fast, and I haven't even talked about Amazon. The bit of news in the week when the market started moving, and it could have been one of the reasons why, was that Amazon will start accepting direct crypto payments in Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, and Bitcoin Cash. Those are the four currencies that they were talking about. At least it's kind of like a one inside, so we don't know if it's true or not. And since Amazon has denied the rumors, so we don't know if it's true or not. But at the same time, they are recruiting experts in cryptocurrency. So they might deny things from one side, but then do something different with their own money. And also it came out, the results of Tesla came out, and also the fact that Tesla hasn't sold any Bitcoin was an important confirmation for the markets that they haven't divested, they haven't sold out. Okay, so those are two bits of information that I haven't even covered today, because it's kind of, for me, they're kind of like the old news. They're like 5, 6, 7 days ago. It's kind of like old news in crypto. We're looking at what's happening yesterday, not what's happening a week ago. That's already gone. Okay, so I'll stop sharing now, and let's start taking some questions.
Okay. So I've got a question. How come everybody's joining us at 8 o'clock? It's because they didn't get the memo. That's all right, isn't it? So we've got a few more people, especially our regulars, who obviously just don't feel like they need to listen to you anymore, Luca. That's what it is. Or it's also exciting. They missed the detail. We have got a couple of questions, and also I've got a couple of questions myself, and I never get chance. So hopefully we'll be able to get chance for mine as well. So the first little point that you might clear up is that when you were talking at the top of the call about the Bitcoin price and, you know, where it might move to up or down, etc., Pia asked, were you suggesting that we might not want to hold on to our Bitcoin for too long? To which I obviously said too long is always too long, but so it's a bit of an open-ended question. But were you inferring that, or were you inferring that maybe we should just keep our eye on things like we would anyway?
I was inferring just look at the facts, and if you look at charts, look at what the information in the chart is telling us coldly, not through the lens of where you want the price to go. That's what I was referring to. In terms of Bitcoin, I mean, I can tell you what my attitude is. The money that I have transferred into crypto, I'm not planning to ever take out in cash. Because my vision is we are looking to a new standard. And this is something, by the way, it's not something that I come up with now, but it's something I've been talking about since 2008, since we had the crash in the property market, that has had an effect of inflating the debt for many countries to the level that it is impossible for them to ever repay it. Okay, and to the point that the interest that they pay on the debt is crippling many countries, in the sense that it's getting to the point of it's more than what they can produce in a year. They pay in interest on their debt. Just imagine if you had a credit card debt and the minimum payment is more than you earn in wages. Would that cause problems for you or not? Of course you would, but the difference is here that we're not talking about somebody that could go bankrupt like a person. We're talking about whole countries. Okay, and when this situation applies to not just one country, like we're talking, for example, about Greece a few years ago, you're not talking just about Greece, but we're talking about the US, Japan, Europe, UK. And what happens then? Because we can't all go bankrupt at the same time. So we are talking about a redefinition of the of money as a mean of exchange. And I've been waiting for this. And the way the kind of like the solution that all countries have adopted is just say, well, we don't have enough cash, let's print more. And this has had an effect of in reality having a huge effect on inflation, but inflation has been artificially kept down. So we are going through, for me, going towards the end of this fiat system, and we will adopt a new standard. Now, what this new standard will be, nobody knows. where before, the only option was to go back to maybe some sort of gold standard. Now we have there is a different option. So there is the Bitcoin standard is a possibility. Personally, I wouldn't I wouldn't sell any Bitcoin. And this is just my opinion. Even if we went down to below 10,000, it wouldn't affect me at all, because I'm not looking at what's going on in the next 6 months. I don't need the money they are invested in crypto. So I'm looking at okay, let's look at where it is in 4 or 5 years time, and at least for the big investments. For the smaller coins is a different thing, different approach. But for the large coins, I am in here for the long term, and you'd be hard pressed to find any assets that grows at 215% a year on average. So this is my sorry, so a long answer to a short question, but this is what I was relating to. Let's move on to the next one.
Okay, well, I'm quite excited about a typically daft question from Andrew, and please don't anybody be offended. Andrew's my friend and colleague, so I can say that. And he didn't even put it in the public chat, he put it into the chat to me, so we might as well put people straight on this. Andrew asks, when it says countries are going to accept cryptos and allow crypto bank accounts, is that for all crypto coins, including altcoins, or will that just be for big coins? I mean, my question would be, does it matter? Because obviously you can translate your coins into whichever one you want that you need to spend. But I suppose it's quite an interesting question, really. How's it going to work, Luca?
Well, that's the big question, because it doesn't really depend. It doesn't depend on the crypto world. Depends on the the countries in the fiat world. What do they decide? Like El Salvador has decided, well, let's embrace crypto, let's embrace Bitcoin as a legal tender. What other countries are deciding is different, and it varies from country to country. I've just read to you what Kazakhstan has decided to allow the banking system to open crypto bank accounts, so they integrate crypto, not so much as making it become legal tender, but to allow their citizens to to openly open crypto bank accounts and to use it in their daily activity. Other countries like the US, it's facilitating the onboarding of cryptos, but on one side. On the other side, they are fighting different projects like Ripple, like Tether, because they consider them they are cross the line into the security side of things and without the necessary authorization. So they are fighting. They kind of like giving mixed messages. On one side, trying to make it easier for people to use crypto. On the other side, is saying this is a security, it's not currency. So we fighting anybody that tries to go across the line without authorization. So it really is not a question for crypto. Crypto carries on. It's a ground floor movement that is making its way up. How authorities will decide to deal with it is a different question, and it will vary from country to country. We are in the UK, and we are literally, I am really annoyed with what is going on in the UK, because they are trying to spread misinformation and directing the way that we can use our funds without expressly coming out with any laws that will determine the boundaries that we can use. So it's almost like they are spreading fear to get us to do what they want us to do without expressly telling us this is allowed, this is not allowed. So again, a question for your country, for your politicians, rather than for me.
Wow. So Andrew got me again there. He actually disguised a very good question as a daft question. There's another one in there as well, which we'll come to in a bit. I'm not necessarily asking these in order of appearance, guys, because I'm just trying to, keep the flow going from subject to subject. So Jay asked a question, Luca. The first part, if the total quantities are supposedly finite, I see, of cryptocurrencies, i.e. that, there's a finite quantity on the wall, is there any difference in what's behind acquiring assets or coins from certain countries over others? Is there
I'm not sure about what you mean. I mean, first of all, the finite number of coins is not particularly true. in the sense that it is true for Bitcoin, it's not true for other coins. Some coins have got a maximum number in circulation that's been coded into the creation of that coin. Some coins don't have a ceiling. This is, for example, is the big changes that's coming with Ethereum. Ethereum doesn't have a ceiling, doesn't have a max number of coins in circulation. You know, with the hard fork that's coming now next week, that will change because they all burn some Ethereum with every block that's being created, and so it will end up, you know, the number in circulation is actually going to end up going down rather than up every year. You know, but it really depends from currency to currency. If what you were saying, as buying it from one country rather than another, it doesn't make any difference for the blockchain. What makes a difference is how your country will treat your investment. And different countries see it in a different way. Like, for example, we see now, if you were in El Salvador, for example, then having Bitcoin is just you have cash in your account, is the same. So if you earn money on your investment, you're not taxed at all. You are in the UK, you're in the US, this is seen as an asset. So if your asset increases in value and you sell it, you have to pay capital gains tax. So it differs from country to country, but it doesn't change what happens on the blockchain. If you buy some coins, you bought some Bitcoin or you bought some Cardano, that's what you've done. What may change is how your country treats you. Okay, let's move on.
There is another quick one from Jay, which we might as well cover here. I noticed that somebody else, I think Alan, replied as well, something that he had to say about it. It's about a specific coin, and the question is, have you or anyone ever heard of it? It's called GS999, and it's a crypto system that Forbes Riley is promoting. And they had a major event in Dubai last month. And to Jay, it looks like MLM around legitimate coins, but she's not sure. And have you heard anything about it or not, Luca?
I haven't personally, so I'm not going to comment on it because I haven't really heard about it. But generally, with this kind of system, I tend to stay away. I don't know this at all, so I won't talk about it. But just from what I have heard, just from your description, is something I would stay away.
Okay, and we've got quite a technical question from Alan. So if nobody minds, I'm going to leave that until for another the next question, as it were, because you may or may not go into some depth there. So something quite interesting, actually, this came in as well from Andrew, and it's a general question, but I think it'll be interesting to people. So when we saw a few weeks ago that cryptos were taking a bit of a dive and all dropped in value, did you see this as an opportunity to invest, which I think you're going to reply in the affirmative? And so at that time, would your leaning be more towards the big coins like Bitcoin, or were you still interested in altcoins, and did you still see value there to invest in?
Okay, first part of the question, did I see as an opportunity to buy? Yes, I did, and yes, I bought. Okay, so that's the question. Actually, I took the opportunity, funny enough, to invest some of my pension money in it by buying MicroStrategy shares. And this is actually a different opportunity. You can invest in companies that are quoted on the stock exchange, and that add a large portion of investment in cryptocurrency. There are some crypto mining companies, for example, some Bitcoin mining companies on the Nasdaq. MicroStrategy, although it's not a crypto company itself, has invested a lot in the corporate treasury in crypto. So basically, an investment in these companies is similar to investing in Bitcoin, but it is allowed from ISAs and other pension accounts that you hold. So in those cases, when the market is depressed like that, it is wiser to keep to the big projects, because are the ones that hold their value better even if the price keeps going down, and also are the first ones that start moving as well when the price turns up as well. And because when you think about it, you know, if you see crypto as level 1 and level 2. You know, level 1 being the infrastructure, level 2 being the apps that are built on top of it. You know, if the apps start moving, it will actually, that means that there is more activity on that particular blockchain, and so the blockchain will go up as well. And as infrastructure is seen as a solid investment, this is what generally starts moving first. So I would, yeah, I was paying more attention to the big projects to begin with, and once the market regains some confidence, then the smaller projects start moving as well. And we've seen some big movement in NFT and gaming blockchains as well. There are really, in terms of use and in terms of price as well, they started pumping quite strongly, and they've been what's kind of is driving the market up as well. Sorry, I just see a question come through very quickly. So, which coins do you call the infrastructure ones? All the layer one coins. You know, all the blockchains where they use the project built on top of it. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, Polkadot, Solana, EOS, Tron, all the layer one projects, and then all the ones that are token built on top of them, those are layer 2. Okay.
Interesting. Thank you.
There are even some layer 3 sometimes, because there are tokens built on top of tokens. So, but let's just keep things simple.
Oh, right. We're keeping it simple. So that'll bring me on to Alan's question about technical analysis then.
Okay.
Well, if you're not an expert like me, i.e. you haven't had 10 minutes to Google it, just for the other people in the room, then I must fill you in, because Alan's used technical abbreviations, and he mentions OBV, which of course I already knew was on balance volume. And he also mentions RSI, guys, which of course you will know is relative strength index. So I thought I'd just fill everybody in on that before we pose the question. And the question really is about those two, and which, if either, do you use to inform your trading decisions? And if so, over what time period?
Sorry, which index? Sorry, what was the question again?
The question was about on balance volume and relative strength index. And do you use either of those to inform your decisions? And if so, over what time period do you usually look?
That is a simple question. I do not use any indicators. I look at a naked chart. There's enough information on there. Indicators are just a way of summing up what's already on the chart. Is just a first of all, indicators are all lagging. Okay, so they tell you what happened in the past, they don't tell you what's going to happen in the future. Okay, and the way, the position of the index, you can, as long as you understand how a chart works, you can see from a naked chart as long as you got enough experience. So I don't tend to use any indicators, and on top of that, I don't do any short-term trading. So I don't really need to, to see that the price is bouncing up the 50 period moving average, this time frame, that time frame, because I'm not really interested in that. I spend most of my time studying the projects and looking at the work that they're doing compared to their competitors, and to see which ones are going to provide more disruption to their market, and the ones that are going to be, they'll got stronger adoption. And this is where I spend my time. So I'm really not interested if Bitcoin is 31 rather than 33,000, and if it's hitting the 200 period moving average, or if it's moving on the exponential chart, in a certain pattern, as opposed to the simple chart and so on. And again, I am looking at a long term here. So generally for the big projects, I tend to use daily and weekly charts. Okay, for smaller projects, I tend to use the daily and below, because I'm looking at a smaller time frame. For the kind of for the baby projects, we're talking about 10 to 100 million in market cap. Then I am looking really at kind of really a 12 months time frame. And for longer projects, I'm looking for generally 1 year to 5 years.
Okay.
Hopefully that answers the question.
That's a great answer. Thank you. So there's a question from Jay again, something that following up, and I did mention that I had a question, so I'm going to add my question to Jay's because it may or may not be related. Actually, I've got another question that I'd like to ask before we go. It's quite important, but it's that can wait. I was thinking that given that the investment amount or the amount of investors, I think you were saying in that article, have gone up by doubled in 4 months, and you were telling us that it tends to roughly double every year previously, and that's going to accelerate. And then you were speaking before that about psychological effects on the whole market of pain and fear and all the rest of it. And so it gets me to thinking, if a lot of the people who are now coming into the market, and I don't know if they are, I'm assuming that lots and lots of people are private individuals, smaller investors, as it were, is that going to mean that psychological effect on the market is likely to get greater or not?
Yeah, you're perfectly right. You're perfectly right. And you know what? You know why they think that is most dangerous? The most dangerous thing of them all is technical analysis itself, because technical analysis is something that's been around for hundreds of years. Okay, and it applies to any sort of markets. But the thing is that what you got to understand is that we are looking for the other markets, whether they are commodities, foreign exchange, gold, precious metal, oil. These are established markets that have been trading the same thing for years and years and years. Okay. So, so the prices I've got a price has got memory, and they are the same thing that's going through time. So it has a correlation with other assets and so on. With crypto, it's something that is changing as we move along through time. So this is not the same thing that's being traded today as it was traded in 2015 or 2013 or so on. So it's very difficult to say this happened in 2015, so the same thing is happening now. And you will see that at some stage, this token flow chart and other models, time and time again are getting invalidated because the actual usage of this asset is changing in front of our eyes. So you use technical charts at your peril, and you trade short term at your peril. Okay. It's not something that I recommend, I recommend, especially for people that haven't been trading extensively before, because trading is already an activity that is profitable to a very, very small percentage of users that get involved in it. We're talking about 2%, 2 out of 100 actually make any money, and trading in crypto is even smaller as a success percentage. So be very, very careful when trading, and be very careful if you are a technical analysis trader, because this is a very different animal from the experience you might have in trading forex, trading futures, or options on oil or gold or other things. Okay, so really be doubly careful when dabbling in this.
All right,
okay.
A couple of questions left, not much time, and I think anyway, Luca, you said that the reason we were here half an hour earlier is because you definitely have to go at 1:30.
Yeah.
So a couple of questions. Greg asks, maybe you could just give your thoughts. I know you did quite extensively last time, but NFTs, general advice around NFTs. Greg questions to invest in NFTs or not, but I know you won't answer it in that way.
NFTs are massive, just simply as that. They are completely massive, and they're going to represent the main use case for the new users. Okay, as we move to the next 200, 300, 400 millions are probably going to come from gaming, and gamings are going to come through NFTs. So the people that won't even realize that they are interacting with the blockchain. They just realize, oh God, look, I bought a new nice sword for Call of Duty or whatever game they're playing, and I can then sell it on to my if I don't want it anymore, I want to buy something else. And so this is a huge use case. As for the value of any particular NFT, that depends on the strength of the community, because the NFT in itself is just a file, and you can create your own NFT by taking a picture with your phone, uploading it on the internet, and minting it on the blockchain. That's an NFT. Okay. What is that going to be valued? If you do it yourself, probably it's zero. If you have a community of millions of users, whether it's a particular gaming community, or is somebody like Gary Vaynerchuk that's got his own community, is different, okay? Because it gives you access to, it gives you certain things that you can do within the community. So I would say, as a value, I'm not an expert on how to value NFTs because I've never been a collector, so I can't help you there. But it might be a good investment to invest in the platforms where you can create and exchange NFTs. Okay, those are the ones that are growing, quickly. There's also another question that I've just noticed from Jay. Yeah, the one at the end. It's about half of the planet's population doesn't have internet access, affect the circulation of digital cryptocurrencies. This is massive, not because just of cryptocurrencies, but exactly what you're saying. Because the moment is a lot of our life is lived through the internet. So allowing the unconnected population to access the internet will then give them access to identity service, to financial services, to insurance, to all the things that we take for granted. And as such, if I can recommend one project that I am close to, I've already spoken about this before, which is called World Mobile. And it's one of those, when you say that sometimes crypto meets purpose, this is something that is very close to my heart, because what they are trying to do is kind of like bring especially Wi-Fi connectivity to rural communities. In particular, obviously, they started in Africa. They started in Zanzibar, in Tanzania, but they have already got agreements with other countries. And what they are doing, they are connecting the solar mobile masts to the places where the big corporations, the cable corporations, don't want to go, because there isn't enough gain for them to be made by connecting rural community in Tanzania. But it is making a huge difference to those communities, and they basically finance local businesses to install these solar powered electric masts. They cost about $5,000 each, by the way. And then they give connectivity by establishing a mesh of these repeaters, this mast over the territory. And also they bring electricity to villages that don't have electricity. So it really completely changing the way that they operate as well, because then they can connect to the markets for their goods directly without having to use third parties, and they can get paid accordingly. And this could be really what really powers the growth in Africa in the next decade. So at the moment, this is a project that is being launched on Cardano. So if you want to interact with it, if you want to buy any tokens, you need to have a Cardano wallet and have some Cardano coins in it to then invest in World Mobile. It's a project that I support more from the heart than from a money point of view, but it could also, it is potentially going to be also a good investment. As we are into Genius Hue, I really want to talk about something that is connecting to purpose. And by the way, it is a project that's been supported as well directly by Charles Hoskinson, which is the founder of Cardano, through his company, which is called IOHK, Input Out Hong Kong, which is the holding company that created all the software for Cardano, which is now a decentralized organization. So, but he's supporting his World Mobile with his own company investment. So it is well supported. And by the way, for those of you that don't believe, think that these are just like a shot in the ocean, World Mobile is now sponsoring Fulham Football Club. For those of you in the UK, so it's not just a tiny project. Is making waves already. And if you look on Google, you might find lots of references to World Mobile and World Mobile token. So,
wonderful. Nice plug for Fulham there. I didn't know that was your team.
No, it's not. It's not my team, actually. My team is AC Milan, for anybody that wants.
Okay.
Okay, but
All right. So thank you, especially want to say thank you to everybody who's joined us, especially at the earlier time, and well, to everybody who joined us at the later time as well. But especially thanks to Jay, because I know it's 3:30 in the morning now where you are, Jay, and you've really participated and posed some great questions. So really appreciate your desire to give your sleeping time to us in that way. Thank you. I've got one final question, Luca. I know you've got to pop off. Just roughly off the top of your head, could you tell me over the last that little bit of period where everything went green in the last few days, what kind of percentage has the overall market grown? Just off the top of your head.
Just let me just have a look at the on CoinGecko. Just 2 seconds. And
it
then
is a leading question, guys. And I didn't warn Luca I was going to ask him this.
It's at the moment the market cap is 1.629 trillion, and it was 1.250 roughly. So 350. Talking about what's that? About 30%.
Right. Well, I just wanted to say, and it isn't a sponsored story, but I really wanted to mention it. The portfolio of yours that I've got a portion of my investment in has actually gained 32% in that bit of time. So we're matching the market beautifully, if not a little bit better. And I just wanted to say that I wanted to thank you personally, because it really has taken the stress out of my situation. And it's just nice to see that little bit of proof, if you see what I mean.
No, thank you very much. I just put in the chat if anybody wants to contact me. Say I'm not available today. And by the way, thank you for those of you that have contacted me after last week event. And I'm really behind in responding to messages because apart from crypto investments that I do and the club that I run, my other businesses are also woken up after the COVID winter. So I've been really busy. But I will get to you all and I will respond to all the messages. Okay. So. Sorry, this is one of my email addresses that you can direct your inquiries to if you want to speak to me. Okay.
I've just dropped in answer to anybody else wondering. Yes, the recording will be in the library of Luca's Circle. Give it some time to get uploaded, but it will be there. And if anybody on the call hasn't joined Luca's community and Circle, please get over there and stay up to date. And don't forget, you can use the discussions page to discuss things through the week.
And by the way, this is the YouTube streaming link. So you can click on that, and just if you come in late and you want to see the first part of the recording, you can see it there straight away.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, then. Luca. Thanks, everybody.
No
see you all next week.
Okay, see you next week at the normal time, at 8 o'clock normal time.
See you. Good luck.